Hello and welcome to Koyunbaba movement number 4 part 2. Well, this is the final part. We're going to be checking out all the slurs and hacks that you need to get this up and running and the new technique. I'm going to give you a heads up straight away. I hope you've played through Etude 12 by Villa-Lobos because it will really help with nailing the new technique in this section. Let's dive straight into Koyunbaba movement number 4 by Carlo Domeniconi. Rightio, welcome to D. So D and onwards in this video is all about right hand pattern change. So you need to be aware of this. Up until this point we've only been using 3 fingers, P, I and M, to get those triplets nailed. From D onwards you are going to use your entire right hand, A, I, M, P, in that order. It's going to be A, I on strings 1 and 3, MP on strings 2 and 4. So when it goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that's your right hand pattern, A, I, M, P, triplets. So it's fantastic. And again, it's in keeping with this entire piece. The right hand patterns really create the magic when combined with the left. Okay, so from a left hand point of view, D looks like this. 4th finger at 12, 2nd finger at 10. 4th finger at 12, 2nd finger at 8. 12, 7, 12, 5. Now that is important there because you're then going to stay in that position and it's going to go 7, 3, 7, 2, 7, 3, 7, 2 before we get the next section. There's no two ways about it. You are going to need to laser ahead. So as soon as you've got this, once you start getting to 7 and 5, your eye should be here ahead of your left hand, not here. Look ahead. So it's look ahead, look back. Once you're at 5, obviously you don't need to, but you're still going to have to do a little bit of this. Generally this should be entirely in your eye line if you're not watching your fingers right up against with your nose pressed against the fretboard. Try and back off a little bit and then you'll be able to get a much bigger peripheral view, and that shouldn't be a problem. But here you are going to have to laser ahead of your hand. Let's check this all out. Here is what it looks like. Okay, so E, we've seen something slightly familiar already, which is right at the beginning in the A section. Here we're doing a variation of it, so it's... So there is only one D and an extra G here. Now, Carlo Domeniconi suggests using a P on every 3, so it goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But I am not doing that. I am using hammer on, I, M, and I'm doing a little bit of an accent where that P should be. The choice is obviously yours depending on how you want to approach it. So it is through 5, pull off, 3, pull off, open D, repeat. Then we kick into this fantastic scale. Now the scale is a stretch scale. You're going to be looking at 5, 3, 1, 5, 5, 3, 2, 5, 3, 1, open. And then here we're at 7, 5, 3, 2, 0. So I'm going to go through that again quickly. And if you hear, there are doubled up notes there with the same note being played open strings. is deliberate on Domeniconi's part. We have hammer on, so it is a hammer on to the 5, pull off, hammer on, hammer on. Now there is no way you can do a hammer on here. So you're just going to have to go straight into I suggest using a 1 slide there for the 3-2 hammer on and then a 1 pull off. This is a fantastic section. These are triplets, they're quite fast, so they've been in keeping with the speed. They should be no different to whatever your speed you set this up as. And then we're back into familiar territory with the next section. One thing to say, we have a lot of repeats here, and you're going to have to keep a close eye on the score, because here we have da kappa, A, B, then C, D, and then you skip into the next section, which is F. So there are a lot of repeats, a lot of keeping track of sections A, B, C, D, and it pretty much kicks it off straight away from the beginning, because you go through A and it just goes da kappa A, then into B. Then it goes da kappa A, B, then C, and then it goes da kappa A, B, then E. So that A, B section is going to come back and keep repeating over and over in the score. Check the sign, check the road marks. Okay, welcome to the linking passage between F and G, which is really weird because this is an important passage because we have the right hand pattern flipping over exactly halfway through the section. So please be very, very, very clear about this, because from that point onwards, the right hand pattern switches melodic notes. Up until this point, we've always had a high note followed by a G, and then a tenor note followed by a D. It's always been A, I, M, P with that pattern. In the middle here, as we walk through it, you will see where Domeniconi switches this around, which is going to be super, super important and very clever. It's a lovely little idea. So anyway, the notes are going to be, before the switch, 12, 10, 12, 8, 12, 7, and then we're going to switch. And it's going to go 8, 10, 8, 7, 8, 10. For the melody. Your melody pretty much stays on that string. So here we're going to go, we get 12, 10, 12, 8, 12, 7, 8, 10, 8, 7, 8, 10. And then we're going to stay on that second string where we're going to go, and that's where the pattern switches completely over to the new right hand pattern. It's going to be, which we'll check out in the next video. So all together, this one looks like. G. Lovely little short one there. Work on that pattern switching over. Be very, very aware of it. Welcome to G, and welcome to what is arguably my favorite section of this piece. I love this little melody. It's a lovely little high interlude before we get back into the main sort of storyline again. You're pretty much going to stay up here at 12, so make sure your hand's round. You're going to have to make sure that your left hand clears those strings while you're playing the string underneath. From a left hand point of view, we are looking at 12, 12, 14, 12, 12, 14, 12, 12, 14, 12, change, answering phrase, 14, 12, 14, 12, across strings 2 and 1. So again, With this comes the new right hand pattern. We have G first, D, G, D. So in essence, you're looking at M, I, A, P, M, I, A, P, M, I, A, P. There's not a ton of technical difficulty here other than making sure that your fingers are clearing away from those strings while you're pulling them up. Because the action's so high, you are literally just going to have to lift those fingers off. Do not pluck down like you would do for a normal slur. Alright, altogether it looks like this. Repeat. Welcome to H. There is going to be a pattern change in the middle here. We're going to see a little bit of a echo of that G material that we've just had. We're also going to see a little echo of that downward spiral material that we had. So let's just dive straight in. Finger wise, because you've been up at 12 looking that way, I would suggest you go 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4 once you start getting down. Really think about your fingering. Obviously that's not the only way, but that's my suggestion. Fret wise, you were looking at 12, 12, 10, 12, 8, 12, 7, 12, 5, this time to 7, 3 to 7, 2 to 7, 3 to 7. Now we're starting to come back up the guitar. And here is your pattern change. 5, 5, 7, 5, 5, 5, 8, 10. Now you can either do this with the one finger and then into 2, 2, 2. The choice is yours, because then we are going to be going back up to that descending idea. So that's what I would suggest, but that's your call. From a right hand point of view, we are looking at M, I, A, P, M, I, A, P, M, I, A, P. Remember that pattern's changed over here. It really shouldn't be that much of a hassle after all of this that you've done. The only thing is just to readjust your brain to the pattern changes. Be aware of them. Right, let's have a look at this in full. Quick interruption. I hope you're enjoying this. If you are, consider hitting the like button and maybe even subscribing to the channel. There is a ton of new content coming your way, including Villa-Lobos, Dians, and Brouwer. So if you want to get in on the action, consider hitting the like button and jumping in on this channel. Let's get back into Koyunbaba. Welcome to the second section of H. This is super important because we have a big repeat section here with, for the first time, a first and second time repeat bars. Why is that important? Because the second time repeat bar ripeños or rips us all the way back to the beginning, and we go back to A and B and do a massive big repeat of most of the material that you've already covered. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the pattern solidifies here and just sticks on strings 2 and 1, and you float down from 12 all the way to 2. So you're going to be looking at M, I, A, P, M, I, A, P, M, I, A, P from a right hand point of view. Sticks to that, and you are sticking. There's no 7th fret high note this time. So fingering, it is 8, 7, 5, 3, looking ahead, 2, back to 3, back to 5, back to 7, back to 8, back to 10. forth and so on. That is your first time repeat bar. So the second time repeat bar does something slightly different. We're looking at a melody that does 2 to 12, 3, 12, 5, 12, 3, 12, 2, 12, 5, 12. And then we're into something different. So it's very important it goes from a 2 to a 5. And then obviously after that you hit back up to the top of the piece. Welcome to the last section of Koyunbaba. And as fitting, we have brand new material, brand new technique, and then into old material and very, very familiar territory, which is great. It means you don't have a lot to really sort of learn. Straight off the bat, I am going to be 100% honest with you. If you have not played through Etude 12 by Villa-Lobos, you're going to struggle with this. I am not going through the technique here. I will show you how to play it. If you need help, you need to play through Etude 12's third section, which a link will hopefully pop up now and help you out with it. Okay, so first things first, let's just deal with the melody. You are going to be doing a melody on string 4, and it is 10, 8 to begin with, nothing. Then it is going to be 5, 3, 2, open strings, 3rd fret, 1st fret, open. So 5, and then it is 5, 3, 1, open. Very familiar territory. I mean, we've seen this float through this section a bit. This is the most important bit here. Now, that's on its own. It does not seem very difficult, but when you pair it with what you're doing with the right hand, your right hand is going to be playing just upstrokes. And I am using I and M, but it is possible to use I and A. You are then only ever going to play an upstroke with the melody. And you're going to stroke past the string and lightly stroke past strings 6 and 5. This is helped by the fact that you're only ever playing a harmonic here. So my advice to you, as soon as you hit this section after all of the repeats, I am playing while moving my left hand little finger into place. Again, this is a left hand fine control. So it's something to work on. We're in triplets. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. There you go. And it's got to stay on, so you're going to need vibrato. 2, 3, 4, pre-preparing. There is not much really to this if you've done Etude 12. If you haven't, you are really going to struggle. So I know I keep going on about this, but I'm saying it because, honest to God, I struggled with this so much when I first learned it. And then I left it and went and did Etude 12 many years later, and I came back to it and I'm like, oh my gosh, so easy. What was my problem before? So that is why I'm going on about it. So let's have a look at this first repeat in full. Right, after that, you're literally just going to be doing 1, 2, 3, open, 2, 3. Then left hand finger back down again. going to have to count these, so you're going to have to keep track of it. Let's have a look at this in full. And if you noticed that the second time I switched over to my fourth finger. So this is super important here because your melody is going to shift now behind the harmonics, because up at this point we're in front of the harmonics, we're now into the behind the harmonics. So make sure that you do that shift in the open string section. And again, left hand fine control. I'm already lasering ahead, thinking ahead of that fifth string G. And then, believe it or not, harmonics shift down with your fingers here. So it makes it nice and easy. So I would suggest just a whole mechanism move into that section. Then they stay there, and you're going to have to stretch out before you get into the next section. So your fourth finger is already hovering over the what I would deem the easy bit of this. So let's have a look at this after the repeat bars. And then we're into the last bit, and it is nice and make sure that you really capturing those melody notes. And then it is just D kappa A B as per usual before we march on all the way through everything that you've done again, and then we get into the ending of this piece. Okay, so top tip here is I would practice this just the shifts on their own. Just to really nail those shifts, because they are quite something, and then it gives you time to think about it. But count, count, count. I can't stress this enough. Counting is your friend through this section. Okay, so it is D kappa A B, and then from A B you're going to jump back into this last section. I'm just going to go through it because this is all material that you've seen before. Three times repeat this time. And then we're into the next bit where you bounce back down. And from this point you're going to go into E and F. Before we finally end back up here, right on the last page. Now there really shouldn't be anything difficult here apart from the fact that it's in a different order. So I'm just going to walk through this nice and slowly as we go through. There's one or two slight variations to the opening material, but that is as you would expect. This is a fantastic end to this movement. to the first bar. Fermata. And again, he's actually put a pause on that last note. And there you go. To really nail that ending, you'll have had to have done movement 1. Welcome to driver's ed. No, not really. This is just a little bit extra to help you with the road markings. There are a lot of poise and rips in this piece, and if you never come across them, you're probably not going to know what to do. This is a long bit of music, which gets even longer with the amount of repeats. First of all, some basics. Poi means then. Rip is for ripeño, which means repeat. You will get a rip AB, which just means go back to AB and then bounce back to where you are. And then you will get maybe a decapa AB poi C. So it means decapa all the way to the top, play A and B. As soon as you finish B, jump across to C. There's not much to it. Thank you very much for staying until the end. This has been brought to you by classicalguitarrocks.com. There is a ton of new content coming your way on the channel, so if you really want to get ahead and get some 6-string inspiration in your life today, head over to classicalguitarrocks.com. There is a link below which will help you out, and possibly even a guide.